on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So today is Tuesday. Welcome back to the channel. I do hope you're having a great week so far. Let's be honest, up until this point, it's been pretty damn boring for Bitcoin. In fact, yesterday we put in a 0% gain. Check the video out if you don't believe me. Today we are having not so much of a move. We're down 0.18%. Now keep in mind, that's at the time of making this video. I am anticipating a pretty big move for Bitcoin within the next 24 to 48 hours. Maybe even by the time you're watching this video. But even if Bitcoin is some crazy price by the time you're watching, definitely stick around because I got a lot of macro stuff I want to go over today. You can see, however, that the altcoins are, they're coming out to play, right? And this is what they do when Bitcoin goes sideways. We had that drop 2 days ago. Essentially, we've just been bouncing between 8.4K to 8.7K, mostly just hanging around the 8.6K level. However, I don't think we're going to be hanging around that level for much too long. So I do want to talk about the fact that Bitcoin is looking to make a pretty big move. Also want to discuss this that was recently pointed out. We do have yet another gap, not on the CME, but over on Grayscale, which means that essentially these investors are not willing to pay as much for Bitcoin as the price right now. So we're looking to either have Grayscale premium come up to meet Bitcoin, or we're looking for Bitcoin to come down to meet Grayscale, right? One of the two, they're going to happen. So I do want to talk about that. I want to discuss the bigger picture, essentially of, why Bitcoin still hasn't been massively adopted, right? Has it failed as a currency? So many people say, oh, just throw in the towel, forget about that old clunky software, nobody cares, right? And a lot of people got shooken out of the markets when we went from 20K to 3K, right? So I want to talk about that. And also one other thing is the impending global economic recession and what would that actually have as an effect on Bitcoin. So we're going to talk short-term, long-term, macro. You're going to want to stick around for that. And if it sounds good to you, you know what to do. And every single Monday we give away the Ledger Nano S. All you got to do is drop a comment on literally any video. So if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Let's hop in. Let's have a look. Now you can see that Bitcoin dominance has pulled back. We've been sitting around that 66% area for quite some time, 65.7%. Where is the money going? Well, currently it's going into altcoins. I mean, you can see, look at all these altcoins up today. We have Energy, Bitcoin, MadeSafe, Icon, Solve, Eternity, Synthetics, Steam, Hedge Trade, and the list goes on, guys. So currently we can see right here, there's no denying that Bitcoin has broken out of this descending wedge. I mean, anyone can see that. That is good for Bitcoin short term, but the question is, are we out of the woods just yet? A lot of people are saying, is this a bull market? Is this a bear market? I mean, we've been going down essentially since, this peak right here in June, but overall we are up from the bottom, right? I mean, from bottom to top right here when we actually, hit the bottom. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin is up almost basically about 140%, give or take, right? So kind of seems like we're doing well, right? So we're going to talk about that today. Let's have a look. Currently, we are still above this green line, which is extremely important. This is basically, I've gone over this time and time again. I'm not going to keep talking about it, but it's very important that we stay above this level. You can see right now, even if Bitcoin was to potentially have a drop, try to retest it, if we were to stay above 8.3K, that's all right. Even if we had a wick down to even 8,000, and then kind of closed above that level, that would be perfectly fine by me as well. But here's the thing I wanted to point out. Speaking of basically the returns that Bitcoin has had just this year alone, I mean, if you want to do it, we'll do it right now. Essentially from the beginning of the year, January 1st, which was right here, to where Bitcoin is sitting currently, we're up almost 20%, right? And going back to that tweet that Nick Carter had put out the other day, he said that most people in traditional, markets only expect 10 to 3%. In fact, down here, he says, to give you an example, U.S. public equity investors generally expect what did I do? Sorry, guys. He said U.S. Public equity investors generally expect real returns around 6 to 7%. Okay, Bitcoin's up almost 20% this year alone. So I think that has to say something for the crypto. But having a look right here, we are still being stomped out by this 200 daily moving average. But interestingly enough, it looks like we have the 200 exponential trying to curve up. And if these two averages meet, you can see that whenever they do, well, it is blast off time, my friends. And then unfortunately, when they cross, well, things turn out not so great for Bitcoin, right? So that is a potential, but we do want to short term try to get above this 200 daily, which is basically around the $9,000 break even level. Currently though, we still do have some gaps on the CME as well. We have one up here at around $8,865. Now I know you can't really see that, but keep in mind it's because it goes over the weekend, right? So we went from January 17th to January 20th. There is a gap, you just can't see it on the chart. And of course we do have the one down at 7,685 if you are a believer that we have to fill that gap, but short term, we are still above the 200 on CME, which is a very important chart as we've seen, guys. Now, having a look at this Grayscale Bitcoin premium comparison chart, I was looking at this earlier, and I'm just going to give my opinion on this. Having a look at basically, what Timothy put out here, it looks like the Grayscale usually tries to meet the Bitcoin price, as you can see right here. For example, it usually pumps up right here. You can see right here, it came down to meet it. It came up to meet it. So I would, if I had to take a guess, I would say that GBTC is going to pump to meet the Bitcoin price rather than Bitcoin is going to dump to meet the GBTC price. However, there's a first time for everything, and past performance does not indicate future results. Plus, I'm just a guy on the internet. Obviously everything I say take with a grain of salt, but you can see that we have fallen out of the ascending wedge right here, and we have been supported by the 8.4K level. So even though we have fallen out of this wedge, we have respected still an uptrend, and we are still putting in higher low, higher low, higher low. And on a short-term micro sort of chart, that looks okay to me. And you can see right here, essentially, like I was talking about yesterday, the last two times that we put in these monthly dojis, this was like the big topic of discussion in yesterday's video, it actually sparked the beginning of a major reversal for Bitcoin. So you can see we had this one down here, June, right? And if we go, I don't have to go from the bottom to the top. That was yesterday's video. Obviously, that was over an 8,000% increase. And if we look right here from the last time that we had it from the bottom, essentially to the top, you can see that was a 254%. And it looks like we are trying to put that in as well. Now, keep in mind, the month is not over yet. We still do have, 9 or 10 days left, something like that for January. So we're not out of the woods just yet. However, if we do end on a doji, that is showing potentially sort of like a bottoming out short term, and we may have a slow grind back up leading into the halving, right? Having a look right here, the halving is coming up sometime in May. Now, we do know this is based on blocks, and it is getting shorter and shorter. Could even be by the first week of May by the time it actually happens, potentially, right? That all does depend. But having a look at this, as long as we can maintain this legacy trend line that we pretty much started right here during the week of January 28th. Look at this. We just kept, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10 was blast off, and we wicked down right here on the week of December 16th. So we have respected this trend line. Looking good for me so far, guys. So as long as we can stay above this, even falling down to 7,000, it might be a little bit upsetting short term, but really we would still be trending upwards, and I would still be a happy camper. Plus, it's more time to accumulate Bitcoin. But one other indicator that I have to point out that is kind of looking a little bit bullish, guys, is the MACD on the weekly. And you could see right here, we're looking like we want to have a crossover into, bullish MACD territory. Now, you can see the last time that we had that crossover from the red zone into the green zone was right here, the week of February 4th. And that was the week that we started the legacy trend line. That's where the legacy trend line started. So the question is, are we looking to potentially put in another beginning of another massive parabolic run? It could be possible, guys. Let me know what you think below. Now, currently, we're not exactly, looking at this right now, I wouldn't say it's going to happen tomorrow. It might take another week or two, potentially, but if we flip into the bullish territory, well, guys, blue skies ahead, blue skies ahead. But let's get serious. Let's be more realistic. I don't want to be a perma bull. I don't want to be a bear. I want to be very realistic about this. You can see Panic FOMO says, and I retweeted this. I really like this tweet, by the way. She says, the only reason Bitcoin is still that small, meaning market cap and adoption, is because nothing can make normies care of themselves. She says obesity, drinking, junk food, no exercise, and here you are telling them how you need to take their freedoms back. Admit it, most people will be driven to Bitcoin by pain. Now, I'm not going to get into the topic of diet and all this other stuff, but just speaking about just like addictions and things that people do, I find that people usually don't make those life changes until it's really too late, right? You don't usually put down the cigarettes until you get the scare from the doctor, right? I'll just give you an example from myself. I was a party animal. I don't know if you guys, but I was crazy in college, guys. And as I got older, it caught up to me, and the doctors started, I started having some issues, and they were like, K-Dub, well, that's not Kyle is my real name. They were like, you can't be doing this stuff, and for example, my father had a heart attack, and it took the damn heart attack for him to finally start considering eating healthy, right? So, basically this begs the question, is it going to take some financial collapse or something like that to ultimately, make people realize the value of Bitcoin compared to fiat, or at least to just kind of hedge into it a little bit, right? Well, having a look over here at global economic recession being inevitable, as a lot of people are saying, they say that the warning signs are there for all to see, including slowing U.S. growth, lack of a U.S.-China trade deal, and economically motivated civil unrest in Argentina, Iran, South Africa, Turkey, Venezuela. Not forgetting the cracks that are appearing with regard to the US dollar status as the world reserve currency. Now, W1, she does say, but I personally think this decade will be a decade, or maybe the next two, of hyper-dollarization. So it's not like this is going to happen overnight. It's going to have to get a lot worse. Like what we saw in Venezuela, for example, where we had, basically, if you had $1,000 a couple of years ago, what do you have now? Like less than $1 or something like that. So that's insane inflation, right? So she says that we still need to go a little bit more. Also, it's highly possible for modern politicians to conspire again for Bretton Woods 2.0 reset and create a new global currency profile. That is possible. However, I'm just curious, what is your take on it, guys? What is your take on it? Because, getting back to essentially, what Panic was saying, some people are arguing that maybe it's too difficult. Maybe it's too difficult for people to use Bitcoin, right? We have to be honest. You can see right here, this is a very polarizing tweet from CZ. He says, many hardcore crypto OGs advocate for storing your own keys, but the truth is today most people are not able to secure a key even from themselves, i.e. losing it. And he is referring to Peter Schiff, obviously. A trusted centralized exchange is safer for most people. The numbers speak for themselves. Now, I'm not advocating that you go run out and just leave your crypto on exchanges, because exchanges do get hacked, but this is a problem. Most people forget their passwords, let alone their private keys. I mean, how are you going to convince, going back to this tweet, people that don't want to change their habits until it's too late to teach them to be their own bank? Right? I mean, this is crazy. So I do think that there's going to be a happy middle ground between, being your own bank, but also allowing these custodial solutions to help manage your Bitcoin for you. And listen, I can already hear the libertarians screaming right now, well, that's not Satoshi's vision. It's not Satoshi's vision, guys, but let's be honest, you need to be realistic. Most people are not going to just drop all of these centralized apps that they're using and drop their bank account and just put all their money into a decentralized wallet that basically banks on whether or not you remember your private key. I would love for that to happen, but it's probably not going to happen overnight. In fact, you can see Tyler Winklevoss had a little bit of a comment. Or no, I'm sorry, this is actually Cameron Winklevoss. Not that I could tell the difference. Made a comment, and he was actually talking about this, right? So we do notice the whole okay boomer joke, right? Well, millennials, for example, they're going to be the ones that are going to inherit the greatest wealth transfer. He believes that in about 5 years, millennials will be dominant in the job market, meaning that they're going to make up 70% or more, right? If they are dominating the force here in the future, then they are probably going to be investing in Bitcoin and other digital currencies, as we've seen that millennials are leaning towards digital currencies compared towards traditional stocks. It's highly likely that in 5 years, Bitcoin will undergo mass adoption and exposure. Millennials understand the power of the digital gold thesis. They want software, not hardware. They want Bitcoin. And it was funny. I was thinking about just video games, right? I was playing Mario Odyssey. I know, a couple years old now, on my Switch the other day. And I was thinking about how in each one of the worlds, they have obviously the global currency, which is obviously the Mario coins, but then each one of them have their own little, I guess, digital currencies, right? And we're growing up in a society where this is common for people. Kids are growing up with, tablets and computers and iPads and everything else in their face, and they're very used to digital currencies, things like Fortnite, right? It's not as strange as it was to the older generation. So this is just a thought that I've been having, and please, guys, feel free. I feel like I'm talking to myself here. I technically am talking to myself, but drop a comment below. Start the conversation, because these are all questions that are really the questions that need to be answered. And one more thing I just want to say, speaking about health, getting back to the panic FOMO tweet again. I have, read some things about people, having anxiety, having high levels of stress because of Bitcoin trading. Guys, if that's the case, stop trading Bitcoin. Stop trading Bitcoin right now. Take a breather, because your health is more important than anything. You can always get money. If you were broke, you can always get a job at McDonald's. They're hiring, right? And you can make money, but you can't get your health back, okay, guys? So if crypto's driving you crazy and you can't sleep at night, please, please, please remember, like, just remember the important things in life, okay? I don't want to stress on that too much, but we do need to move on. So we do have a government memo seen by Bloomberg emphasizes that the Swiss government regulators have not ruled out the possibility that Libra could one day receive their approval. Swiss officials will continue to monitor the project, the note reads, paying special attention to the form which Libra may take in the future. And finally, I like to end on some crypto adoption, some good news. Well, this is more of blockchain adoption, but you have AB InBev, the company behind the Budweiser brand, is helping local African farmers to prove their income using blockchain. Now, this is really freaking cool, guys. So you can see the CEO says, and now, for example, this farmer who was never bankable because she couldn't prove income of any source, had no reports or material or paper, now on a flip phone, she has in the blockchain proof that she is a supplier to the AB InBev, a global company. So what do you guys think about that? Love ending on some great news. And what is Bitcoin doing? Yeah, it's trying to push up, but we're just hanging out here, guys. Like I said, I am expecting a pretty damn big move, but that's why I kept today's video macro because, hey, by the time you're watching, the price could be totally different. So why focus on price today when really we need to look at the bigger picture, right? Sometimes you got to just step back, zoom out, and, realize that, guys, we are breaking out of the trend. So patience, my friends, patience. If you're not subscribed to the channel, get subscribed. If you want to win a Ledger Nano S, drop a comment below. I do have a free Telegram group above. You can click it right here. The link is also below. And yeah, that's basically it for me today, guys. So enjoy your week. Thanks for coming back and supporting the channel as usual. I freaking love you guys. You're the reason that I do this virtually every single day, give or take. Sometimes I got to take some days off. But that being said, thanks again. My name is K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto. And peace out.